All right, with number 4, I'm in the first quadrant. So I would, as you guys, and this happened to a couple people on your pop quiz yesterday, make sure you guys understand what quadrant you're in before you start a problem. Okay, because that affects if your answer is going to be negative or positive. If we're in quadrant 1, and I'm going to ask you guys to find sine here in a second. What do you know about sine in the first quadrant from yesterday? Positive or negative? Positive. So I know in my mind at the end, my answer should be positive. All right, so keep that, write it off to the side, whatever you got to do. My answer is going to be positive. So I already know what cosine is. It's 1/3. So I'm going to use this Pythagorean Theorem identity that I showed you yesterday. I will also give this to you on any test or quiz. I know it's not on the formula sheet, but I'll give it to you. All right, equal to 1. What am I going to plug in for cosine theta? What's the value? We already know it. I gave it to you. It is 1/3. Now, I don't put cosine 1/3. Look, cosine theta is 1/3. So it's just 1/3. I don't even attach the cosine with it. Plus, this is what I'm solving for. Sine theta, all squared, equals 1. Just plug in and go now. The toughest part is going to be the algebra. All right, that's going to be the toughest part. So everyone goes to their calculator, does 1/3, all squared. I'm hoping we know how to do that in our calculator at this point. If you square 1/3, you get 1/9 plus sine theta squared equals 1. All right, get the 1/9 out of there. How? Move it over, subtract it, minus 1/9 on both sides. Yep. I don't know, is it?
It should be. The whole number is not a whole number of 1 over 1. It should be 9. I mean 8, 9.
1 minus 1/9?
1 minus 1/9 should be 8, 9.
Should be.
Yeah.
8/9. One more step to get that sign by itself. Take the square root, yep. All right, now, yesterday, on the problem above, number 3, you guys did it in your calculator, came out to be a nice fraction, we're good to go. Now, when you do, go ahead, do the square root of 8/9. You get a nice clean fraction out of that? No, right? And you guys know already, we don't deal with sloppy decimals and we don't write them down. That's desperation mode. So now I got to show you, all right, algebraically, how do I deal with this? Because I can't leave it square root of 8/9. So I do get sine theta. All right, I get it. I can't use that number in my calculator. I can't. It's not going to work. All right, not going to work for me. So how do I deal with this? Ready? Everyone see how it's over a big square root? All right, if that doesn't work out on your calculator like it doesn't here, you can change it into 2 smaller square roots. So this right here is the same as if I did the square root of 8 over the square root of 9. That still works. That's the same exact thing. Why is that to your advantage now? Anybody see on the bottom, square root of 9? Look familiar? That's just what? 3. Yeah. And not right now. When we start reviewing for the regents, I'm throwing too much stuff at you already. Just leave it square root of 8. Yes, you could break it down, but we'll worry about that stuff regent side. I'm just happy that we're getting here. So there. By the way, keep it positive or negative? Why? Why? Tell me why. First quadrant, and we found sine. Good. There you go. So I at least wanted to finish up number 4 going into tomorrow. So are we clear on tomorrow's pop quiz? You're going to get something like problem number 2 and something where I'm going to have you guys use the Pythagorean identity.
You get 2 radical 2 for radical 8.
What's that? All right, great. Yep.
2 radical 2.
Correct. That's what it breaks down into. Everyone okay? All right, so be ready. I'm giving you an extra 24 hours. I can't make you do the assignment on the next couple pages, but I can be here to help you. All right, so that's what I'm offering. All right, so there we go. We're good. Time to move on to today's topic. Not on the pop quiz, it'll be on the test, which I'll announce probably tomorrow. All right, so here we go. Let's see how this goes here, because we're going to have a little bit of a problem today that you may not like. So my terminal side, and problem number one, my terminal side goes through 3, 4. Can you guys graph 3, 4 for me? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And go ahead, draw your terminal side through there. There you go, 3, 4. First thing it says is, can you find the value of sine for me? Sine theta. Here's where we've been. Guys, what coordinate is usually sine? Y. So a lot of people would say sine equals 4, because that's the y coordinate. Everyone agrees? 4 is the y coordinate. All right, here's the problem today. That only works, that sine's the y coordinate, if we're on what type of circle? What's that circle called again? The unit circle. 3, 4 is not on the unit circle. Okay, and if you want to know real quickly how I know and how you're going to know for future how 3, 4 is not on the unit circle, does 3 squared plus 4 squared equal 1 squared on the unit circle there? Is that true? Okay, so that's not on the unit circle. So I just can't take the y value off. That stinks. So how am I going to figure out what sine and cosine are now if I'm not on the unit circle? We're going to make a right triangle out of it. All right, everyone see where 3, 4 is? Drop down a nice little vertical line and horizontal line, and we're going to make a right triangle out of this. Can you guys find the lengths of those sides you just drew in? How long's the horizontal side down here? 3 units. How long's the vertical side? All right, got that going for you. Yeah. And do you see the angle we made in the first quadrant by drawing in that terminal side? Everyone see it? Right here? This is the angle we're going to, that's your theta right here. That's the angle we're going to go from right there. That's my theta. And I know from your quiz, you didn't like it that much, but we got to go back to it. We're going to go back to find sine, cosine, and tangent. We're going back to SOHCAHTOA. Yep, go. Oh, we're not. Pop quiz is going to be tomorrow. All right. Okay, we're going to go back to SOHCAHTOA to find sine and cosine. All right, so here we go. Sine theta. Let's get good at this. Let's get good at this. How do you find sine using SOHCAHTOA? What sides do I need? Make sure we can spell it. What sides do I need here? We got new people back today, huh? Actually, what numbers did we go up to yesterday?
14.
14 was our highest number. Zach, you're 15. All right, we went. I'm giving new numbers out so I don't have to keep pressing this darn thing, and people aren't here. Nobody has that number. Everyone's got their numbers from yesterday. Good. Here we go. 2. What sides do I need for sine here?
Opposite and hypotenuse.
Good job. Opposite over hypotenuse. So again, there's my angle I made in the first quadrant. Everyone look at that angle. What's the opposite side to that angle? 6. What's the opposite side? 4 over. We got a problem? Got a problem, don't we? I'm going to ask somebody right now for hypotenuse, and it's not labeled. Oh, I can find it, though. What else have we done in this unit other than SOHCAHTOA, where I know 2 sides of a right triangle and I can find the third? Pythagorean Theorem. And that's what I need to do here before somebody tells me the hypotenuse. So Pythagorean Theorem. What am I plugging in for A and B? 3 squared plus 4 squared equals that side I need squared. Go ahead. No one's asking. That's why I have these numbers, Jeremy, if you haven't picked up in week 9 already. What's the value of that hypotenuse when you're ready? 2?
25.
25 is c squared, right? What do you still got to do on each side, Connor?
Each side of the.
Because 25 is your c squared value. I need c by itself.
Square root.
So go ahead. What is c? 5. There's my hypotenuse, everybody. 5. So there's your sine value, 4/5. Be prepared to do that. All these problems here. You're going to be missing the hypotenuse, and you got to do Pythag to find it. All right, let's roll. How about cosine now? Because it asked me for sine, cosine. What 2 sides do I need there? 13. What 2 sides do I need here for cosine?
Adjacent and hypotenuse.
There you go. Adjacent, hypotenuse. Still going from that same angle I created. What's my adjacent and hypotenuse side here? 7? 3/5. Good. So this is what happens when I'm not on the unit circle and I can't just pick off the coordinates. We got one more though. We have one more job. Find sine, find cosine, and what's the value of theta? How many degrees do I have? What quadrant are you in? Quadrant 1. So my answer should be, think about it, my answer should be between what? 0 and 90 somewhere. All right. Now, how do I find that actual angle? And I know we only did this once last week, so I don't expect anybody to know. But what we're going to do, everyone remember using at least the inverse button on your calculator, sine and cosine, second sine, second cosine. Remember that? Okay. So we have a decision to make right now. Do we want to do sine or cosine? There's no wrong answer. You want to do sine? Okay. So to find theta, how many degrees are in that angle in the first quadrant? We're going to do inverse sine. And what was the sine value we found already? 4/5. If you did cosine, it would be 3/5. So I'll do it with you. Everyone go to your calcs. Second sine, 4/5. And I believe there's rounding directions too. Right? Yep, there's rounding directions. It says to the nearest degree. So nearest degree, 53 degrees. So that angle's 53 degrees. And if you use cosine instead, it would have been 53 degrees. All right, so when we're not on the unit circle, we got to start making a right triangle out of this. How's everyone? Ask any questions because I'm going to move to a different quadrant. Jeremy, yes?
Is it possible to calculate sine? Is it possible to calculate sine inverse without calculating?
Calculator? No, you need like tables and stuff. Yep.
Can I borrow a calculator?
Right behind here. Anybody else? Questions? So you ready to go to a different quadrant now? Because things change a little bit when I'm not in quad 1. All right, so here we go. Now the terminal side goes through 6, -5. Can you help me out there? 6, -5. I'm really going to start challenging you here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what quadrant am I in? 4. Okay, just keep that in mind where I am, what quadrant I'm in. Remember, this is my angle, right? Right here. That's my angle I'm finding. That's my angle we're eventually going to have to find. All All right, it's not on the unit circle because again, 6 squared plus negative 5 squared, I hate to break it to you, does not equal 1. So that's not on the unit circle. So we are going to make a right triangle out of it now. Now the question is, how do I make this right triangle, right? I could go like this if I wanted to, right? Go like that, or I could do it on the other side like that, okay? Here's the right triangle we're going to make, and I'll show you how you can remember in a second. We're going to go up and over there. Okay, so how do you remember how to make this right triangle? I remember making a bow tie. Everybody seen a bow tie before? Familiar with the bow tie? That's what your triangles look like depending on what quadrant you're in. Okay, so you can remember doing a bow tie. All right, that's how you remember what your right triangle is. Okay. Can you guys label a couple sides there? How long's this horizontal side? 6 units. How about this vertical side? Okay, now we got to be careful. Yeah, it's 5. I totally agree. But do you see where it is right now? Right here? What do you know about all these values here? Yeah, so if you can remember, and I'll show you why it's important to remember, put a negative there. All right, before we even start, we're going to have to find the hypotenuse before we find sine and cosine, right? So let's find the hypotenuse. 6 squared plus negative 5 squared, put it in parentheses in your calculator, equals c squared. We're going to have to do it. We're going to have to eventually do it, so let's do it now. So we got 36 and 25. Anytime you square a number, it's positive, remember. Equals c squared, what do we got there? 61. Square root both sides. You're not getting something nice on your calculator, are you? So we got to leave it. Square root of 61. There's we're going to deal with it. Radical 61. Hypotenuse, never negative. Hypotenuse, never negative. Party time. Here we go. Sine theta. And we always go from your reference angle. We always go theta. We always go from your reference angle there. All right. We always go from the reference angle. All right. SOHCAHTOA. Opposite over hypotenuse. Help. What sides am I going to put in here? Opposite over hypotenuse. 4. Let's roll. Opposite hypotenuse. Do we have a 4? 4? I'm going to believe it's somewhere in this quadrant here.
Opposite would be negative 5. Then hypotenuse would be radical or square root of 61.
Yeah. Well, hey, this is where it gets fun. What quadrant am I in? 4. What did I just find? Sine. What do you know about sine in the 4th quadrant? Negative. That's why I have you guys remember, put the darn negative sign if it's going down, right? Sine in the 4th quadrant is negative. Should make sense. I still don't like this, though. Why not? What's up?
Radical.
Darn right. Where?
Denominator.
In the denominator. We don't do that. We don't roll like that. Have some self-respect. How do I get the radical out of the denominator? Multiply top and bottom by radical 61. Woo, we are getting hardcore here. What's left on top? Negative 5 times radical 61 all over. Radical times itself is the number underneath, 61. Done. Can't go any further. Oh, you're ready for cosine now. Yeah. Adjacent over hypotenuse. What do you got for me now? Adjacent side over hypotenuse. Oh, 3.
6 over square root of 61.
Hey guys, what do you know about cosine in the fourth quadrant?
Positive.
Oh, shocker. That's why that came out to be positive. Cosine's positive in the fourth quadrant. Self-respect. Self-respect. Right? Yeah. We're not pulling this garbage. We got 6 square root of 61 over 61. All right. Your A game's going to have to come out now. A games only. Whatever it is. Now we found sine, cosine, and it says also to find what theta equals, right? What quadrant am I in, guys? What quadrant am I in? 4. So my answer should be between what? 300.
No. 270.
270 and 360. Everyone agrees? Okay, keep that in mind, please. When we do this, keep that in mind that my answer has, since I'm in the fourth quadrant, has to be between 270 and 360. I am going, now you have your choice, right? You could do sine or you could do inverse cosine. I'm going to tell you what to do. Always use the positive one. Okay, and there's a reason for it. I don't want to get into it, but always use the positive one. So I'm going to do inverse cosine because that one ended up being positive. All right, use the positive answer for the inverse. So I'm going to do inverse cosine to find this angle. And in my calculator, I'm going to get a fraction template out and do 6 square root of 61 over 61. I'll do it with you here because something strange is going to happen. And we're going to have to fix it. Second cosine, fraction template, 6 square root 61 over 61. So if I round it, I get about 40, right? What the heck? What did you guys just tell me 2 minutes ago? What did you guys just tell me 2 minutes ago? It's got to be between, we're in quad 4. That ain't in quad 4.
Oh, that's the reference.
Do you know what your calculator gives you? Yeah. When you do inverses, you know what your calculator gives you? Reference angles. So what your calculator just gave you, which is okay because we can handle this, your calculator just gave you this angle. The reference angle is 40 degrees. Don't tell me you don't know how to do it. You know how to get the actual angle now. Your calculator gives out reference angles. So if that reference angle is 40, don't say a word. Think about it. How can I find the actual angle in the fourth quadrant? You guys know how to, come on. Don't tell me you don't know how to do it. The reference angle is 40. So what would be the angle in the fourth quadrant then? You ready to tell me how you got there? Come on. 2?
320.
How'd you get there?
360 minus 40.
There you go. We can all do it. That's the angle I'm looking for at the end, the angle in the fourth quadrant. And again, I prefer you guys make sure you take the inverse of whatever was positive. We okay? You guys can do this. You can. You guys just got to take your time and think about where you are. All right, one more I'm going to do with you, and then I'll finally let you go. This one should be, actually, yeah, this will be the last one. I don't think we'll get to the actual number 4 here. Ready? All right, let's do it. I don't give you a graph here. You're going to have to sketch it. Sorry. Theta is in what quadrant? 3. All right, so let's make an angle in quadrant 3. somewhere in quadrant 3, let's make an angle. Ready? Now, this is a little bit different because I'm not giving you a coordinate. I'm giving you, though, what the cosine value is. So first thing, how can I make my right triangle? You got to, again, remember, bow tie. Everyone see the triangle should look like in the third quadrant? We're all good? Okay, make that right triangle in the third quadrant now. Before, we'd be able to fill out the horizontal and the vertical part, all right, because I was given a coordinate and I could count. Not this time. Here's what I gave you instead. Cosine is negative 8 over 17. What sides do you use for cosine? What sides, what two sides do I use for cosine? 3, what two sides do I use for cosine? Okay, so what is this telling me? The adjacent side is what? What's in place of A? 8. The adjacent side is 8. So remember, here's my angle. Oh, it's always the reference angle we go by. So it's going to be 8. Jeremy, you're killing me. Put it away. This is why we complain about quizzes and stuff. Over, what's in place of the 17? You said it was A over, adjacent over. So guess how long the hypotenuse is? See how I filled that out? Okay. Cosine is the adjacent side, which they told me was 8, so I put an 8 there on the adjacent, over hypotenuse, 17. Quickly look at what I have up here. Something I need to fix. Oh yeah, good. Where should the negative be? On the 8. Going this way on the x, right? That should be a negative. And I got to find sine now. What's sine theta? Anybody got a problem? Mike, what's the problem?
Would there be a negative one of 17 too?
No, hypotenuse is never negative. Okay, hypotenuse is a good question. Hypotenuse never negative. When you guys go to find sine, what two sides do you need? You need opposite over hypotenuse, but I don't have the opposite. Sarah, darn right. What have we been using all day to find a missing side? Pythag. Let's go. Negative 8 squared. Am I going to put 17 now? Good, good. Can I just put B, X? What do you want? B? Sure, I don't care. It's a variable. Equals what now? 17 squared. Yep, good. So I get 64 plus B squared. 17 squared. 289. Thank you. $225.
B equals 15.
Does it? Did your phone tell you that? Or too soon? Too soon, everybody? Too soon?
I always knew it was 15.
B equals 15. All right, so I pop the 15 up here. And this is why these problems are so tough. Yeah, it's 15. Look where it is. Look where it is. What do I know going down here? These are all negative, yep. All right, so what about sine now? What's opposite now? Negative 15, and my hypotenuse? 17. Now, let's say you left that you forgot. I get it. It happens all the time. You left the negative off the 15, and you just wrote 15. So your answer would be positive 15 over 17. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with positive 15 over 17 in this case?
It'd be in the second quadrant.
Well, first of all, what quad are we in right now? 3, and you just found the value of sine. Sine third quadrant. Negative. So I have to throw the negative on. All right. Hold on. Okay, ready? I'm going to have to do this with you. Now, it just doesn't say find sine. It also says find the angle in the third quadrant, right? Find theta again. My answer should be between what? 180 and 270, right? Okay, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Now, here's the problem we're going to run into. I told you guys last problem, always try to take the inverse of the positive measure. I don't have one here, do I? Okay, so I can't. In the third quadrant, it's not. Both are going to be negative, so let's just pick one and deal with it. Which one do you want to do, cosine or sine? Cosine? I don't care. Can we just pick one? There's no wrong answer. Sine, cosine? Sine, fine. Ready? Inverse sine. What fraction you going to take? Negative 15 over 17. All right, let's roll. Inverse sine, fraction template, negative 15 over 17. It was negative 15, right?
Yep.
Over 17, right? Okay. We get a negative answer. We know obviously that can't be it, right? Suggestions? Okay, that's what I assume all of you do. All right, so let's add 360 to it. We could get about 298. What's the problem though? That's where? That's in the fourth, right? I need an angle where? In the third. Okay, let's see. Can we do this or not? If you know 298 is in the fourth, what would it be in the third? Can we do this or not?
Find the reference angle.
Okay, good suggestion. Connor, one more time.
Find the reference.
Find the reference angle. Whatever the reference angle is in the fourth quadrant, it's going to be the same in the third quadrant. All right, so here we go. We're going to move 298 to the third. What's the reference angle for 298? 60? 62 degrees, right? 360. All right, so there's your reference angle in whatever quadrant you're in, 62. There it is. There's my angle of 62 degrees. Whatever reference angle it is in one quadrant, it's the same reference angle in any quadrant. Can you guys find the angle in the third now? Can we find that angle in the third? What do I have to do with the 62 to find that angle? Think about it. Don't yell anything out. Think about it. What do I have to do with the 62 to find the angle in the third? 62 plus 180. Right? Because I go 180 degrees plus 62 more to get to the full angle. So my angle in the third quadrant will be 246. 244, 242. This is tough. This is going to be tough. All right. I'll finish up with number 4 tomorrow. I want you guys to start on not number 1. I want you to go to number 6 and 7 on the assignment. 6 and 7. Make your graph on the XY axis. Make a right triangle. If you got to draw a little bow tie on the top of your page to figure out what the right triangle looks like, go ahead. Find all your sides. What do we got here?